Hey guys, it's Marta. Welcome. It's March. The weather is maybe not the best, but the most intense month of gardening has started. So today I wanted to meet with you and tell you what is my list for March, what I'll be doing this month. Let's go. Let's begin with some flowers, not only the jobs. Look, the crocuses has started blooming and I'm so happy. Also the snowdrops are blooming, the hellebores, and whenever I see them, I know that I can go into the garden and work a lot. But last month in our country was wonderful. We had beautiful weather. We've even had 16 degrees Celsius. This temperature is normal for April, not for February. So I have done a lot of jobs earlier. But when I was thinking about this video, I thought about a person who has not done anything, is just starting, going into the garden. So let's begin with all the jobs you can do now. So what do I do when I go into the garden and nothing has been done? I call it the crawling phase of cleaning the garden. So I get on my knees and I clean all of my borders. So I'm removing all the dead stems laying around, all the dead leaves, everything that is on my borders. And I try to make the borders into squares or rectangles, and I try to clean it, and I try to prune everything that I can now, so I have something finished. This is very satisfying. It makes me feel accomplished that I finished some part of the garden, and I start with this part because a lot of plants here can be pruned earlier. So I've done that in February, but it can also be done in March. So I prune my hydrangeas, I prune my roses, and I clean everything. And when I'm done, I'm going to the next part, and then I clean again. The worst parts of my garden are those under the very old birch trees and under magnolias. I've had a very thick layer of leaves because I did not clean anything in the fall. So I'm going, meter by meter, and I clean everything. If it's compostable, so it doesn't have any diseased leaves, I put it in the compost. And if it has, for example, leaves of my roses that can be, as a place where disease can happen, I always throw that away. So this is the first part, cleaning. That is a very long process. So a lot of work is with cleaning the perennials, besides the leaves, of course, because this is a huge job in my garden. But the perennials, I clean a lot of them in the fall because I don't want to have as much jobs in the spring. So a lot of them, like catmint and salvias, and some of them I've cleaned, some of them I left for the birds. So like I showed you the last time, the coneflowers were left for the birds to feed. Yes, they are happy. They are saying we were happy, and some of them were cleaned earlier. But if you did not do it, now is the time to clean all of your perennials. Most of them are just sheared right to the ground. Sometimes if you have, for example, heucheras, some of their leaves look fine and you can only cut off the spent ones, and with hellebores I only prune off the leaves and leave the flowers to bloom. The next big thing, and I think the biggest one, is pruning in March. That is a huge job and I get a lot of questions. What should I prune? Is this the right moment? What should I do? So okay, now let's talk about pruning. What to prune now and what you should leave maybe for later. Let's go. Okay, I think I will tell you how I prune my garden and which plants I start with and which ones I wait with. So first plants that I will prune are the hydrangeas, so Annabelles, strong Annabelles, then all of the panicle hydrangeas. I don't prune my garden hydrangeas, so the mop hydrangeas. I only clean the old leaves and I take off just the flower, and I even pull it, I don't prune it. So afterwards I prune all my fruit trees, so my apple trees, but I don't prune my sweet cherry. The sweet cherry is pruned after it has flowered and after it had the fruits, so this will be in the summer. And then I prune all of my fruit bushes, so my blueberries, my red currants, and then I go to the other part of the garden and here start all of my clematis, so I prune all of that. That is a lot of stems. And when I prune and I clean all of them, I clean all of the old leaves and I prune the right kind of clematis the right way, because some of them are pruned right to the ground, some of them 40 centimeters from the ground, some of them are about around a meter or meter and a half, and some of them you don't prune at all. So you have to know your variety and how it should be pruned. And then I go to my roses. So here is a rose I've been pruning just a moment ago. This is a climbing rose. It's called Jasmina, beautiful rose with very specific smell, scent. It's not smell, scent. I would say it's the scent is more similar to the washing liquid than to the classic roses. Very intense and very nice, but not a typical rose scent, but it is a very healthy rose and I would highly recommend it. And this one I prune, and as you can see, it is bent in a specific way. This, if you ever prune your climbing roses and you do all the stems like this, you will have a lot of flowers. So try growing your roses like this and you will get a lot of flowers. You will see in the summer how beautiful it will look. In all of my gardening years, I have been trying to prune roses in a different way because I like to test the different methods and I would like to see what effects I get. And this is the best way of learning. So I've been trying to prune them early. Sometimes I even prune them in warm February, sometimes in March, sometimes in April. I've been pruning them low, I've been pruning them high, trying to prune them in the autumn. And I think I will do a different video just about roses and about the pruning and what effects I got, because I think it might be interesting, and I would also like to hear your thoughts about this, because in Poland it was always said that you have to prune roses when forsythia is blooming, and some people are getting really angry when you tell them that you do it differently, but I really like when I see some kind of rule. I really like to try to break the law, to try how it works out, and then I get my own experience and I know how my garden works, and I know that my way will not be the best way for everyone, but I like to do things my way and try different things and sometimes get burned and to learn that this is not the proper way to do it. Next job to be done will be pruning the hedges. This is Tuya. We also have our Taxus baccata, so yew, and we also have the ligustrum. So these will need to be pruned, and this year I will not be doing that. I asked a company to do it for me because they are very, very high and our ladder is not enough to prune them. When you're pruning, especially your tuyas, it's good to clean them inside. There is a lot of dead and it's good to take it out so they are cleaned inside. A lot of air can get in. They are growing so much better then. So have that in mind, but this job is one of the most hated for me. I hate doing that. That is a lot of dust and I'm allergic to dust, so I'm so happy someone will do that for me this year. Okay, next job to be done is the lawn maintenance. This is one of my favorite jobs to be done in the spring, because when you do the proper scarification of your lawn, you take all of those dead parts of the lawn, you give your lawn the ability to take up the water, to take up the nutrients. I will be fertilizing it. I will be, making all of those edges beautiful. I love doing that because after like 2 weeks, the moment you do it, it looks ugly. But after 2 to 3 weeks, you will see the results of your hard labor and it will look beautiful. So we'll make a whole video about the lawn maintenance in the spring. I love doing that. I don't know why. I hate cleaning the tuyas and I love making my lawn look beautiful. After I do all of my lawn maintenance and I've done everything is pruned, everything is cleaned, then I will be fertilizing and I will be mulching. So the fertilizing is best to be done when the soil is warmer. It will be easier for the plants to take up the nutrients. So I really wait for it to be warmer to the touch even, and then I put on the fertilizer, and after the fertilizer I will be mulching all of my borders. I've been mulching with compost for 7 years now. I remove all of this, garden fabric that I had in the garden, and I really hated what it did to my plants. So I removed 400 square meters of that fabric, and now there is nothing, just the compost, and my garden is thriving. And I think this is one of the best things I've done to my garden. So few centimeters of compost put in the borders every spring is doing the magic to my garden. I don't know if you can see that, but part of my path is very white and part is very green, because this part I've cleaned with the pressure cleaner. I get a lot of questions, how do my paths look so beautiful and white? I clean them with the pressure cleaner, and I go a few times a year and I clean them, especially after all of the things from birch or from the pines, all of that dust is on it and it's always a bit red, and then I just go and clean it. So this border has been cleaned, as you can see. There are of course some leaves are there, but when I will be mulching they will be covered. But I'm waiting for a bit warmer days to start, because I like to put the fertilizer first and then the mulch, so I don't see some fertilizers, you can see their color. So I really like this nice thick dark mulch, and it's all looking beautiful. But when I put it on, you have to be careful with the plants so you don't cover them completely. Okay, next job is all of the sowing of the vegetables and of the annuals. Let's go to the greenhouse and I will tell you what I'll be sowing. Yesterday I spent the whole day here in the greenhouse and I was cleaning it. So I get a lot of questions, how do I clean my greenhouse? I use my pressure washer, and I first wash it just with water with pressure, inside and outside. And because we have a lot of birch trees, there are a lot of seeds of birch inside all of the gutters and these little crevices. So that is a lot of I always say it's like a fun game between me and the birch seeds. So I've been cleaning outside and inside. And inside I clean all of the glass with just dishwash detergent and some vinegar and with my hand. And I do a lot of that soapy thing on all of those. And then I use the pressure washer again to make it, or it's not sparkling clean, but I would say it's clean enough. I spent the whole day, and when I came back home, I was like, I just need to lay down. I was like, this is a lot of things. And if you're buying a greenhouse, don't buy a greenhouse like this when you have those glasses pressed to one another, and all those crevices are filled with all the gunk, and it's very hard to clean. I think I've done a pretty good job, but not the one that I would be totally satisfied with. But it's cleaned. So this week I will be sowing, first of all, things we love to eat. So I will be sowing some radishes, peas, kale, spinach, a lot of lettuce leaves for us to eat, and maybe some beets. And then for the beauty, I will be sowing some hardy annuals, so more sweet peas, all of them. I think I will do a separate video about how I sow, how I prepare my soil, what I add to it, how I do all this process. I really love that, and I love watching my plants growing from seed. This is a beautiful process, especially if you're working in a garden with kids. I think I really wish that when I was in school we had some kind of lessons like that, so someone will show us how to sow the seeds and how to watch something grow and then to eat it or just admire it, and I think it's a beautiful process and everyone should try. Maybe I think sweet peas and peas are because I love eating peas and I love smelling the sweet peas, so these are one of my favorite plants to grow, and I think everyone should try it because it's a beautiful, you see it as a baby, then as a teenager, and then it's very like an adult, like a tomato. You just have a tiny seed and then you have this plant that is 2 meters tall, and then you can eat all of those beautiful fruits. I think this process is just great. Okay, I'll talk about the sowing in another video, and now let's go and think about other jobs you can do in March. If you've been planting bulb lasagnas with me in the fall, remember to water them now. If they've been somewhere sheltered or under the roof of your house, they are probably very dry, so you have to water them. And if you see your tulips emerging or other bulbs, it's good to put them somewhere sunny so they can get the sun and the proper rain. Now when they are emerging, it is good to remember to water them. And if you have any plants in the pots in your greenhouse or just under the roof, remember to water them thoroughly. I even have some of my borders very close to the house, and just this half of the meter doesn't get any water. So I go with my hose and I water them because it's spring and they need water to be very, very happy. Now is also a good time to clean everything, like your terrace, your patio. This is what I'm doing all the time. So I get my pressure washer, I'm washing my terrace. I have a lot of wood and it is very, very green. So cleaning that. The gardener's soap, the potassium salt, is very good to wash it. You could try to wash it even with soda or with vinegar. These are the good types of natural things to clean, and if you have any plants near, it is definitely more healthy for them not to use any chemicals around them. So these types of things are very good to be used. Okay guys, let me know in the comments what are you doing in March in your gardens. What is your favorite job to be done and what is the least favorite to be done? I wonder if some of you really hate cleaning the tuyas just like I do. If you like today's video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully we'll get more sun. Bye bye.